welcome your program, and the Russian-Ukrainian will be ending soon. This is our question for today's segment regarding these recent developments. I would like to welcome my guest from New York, Mr. Donadio, who is a political and military analyst, and from Kiev, Mr. Ivan, who was the advisor of the Ukrainian Center for Foreign Policy. Welcome again. I will go for New York, Mr. Barry. The question for you: we have been talking before this short break about the relations between U.S. and Europe, which maybe we can describe this stage with unprecedented tension happening between Europe and U.S. To what extent it had an impact on the recent negotiation between Russia and Ukraine?
I don't think it's going to have any impact on any negotiation at this point. Right now, you have Ukraine, Russia, and the United States locked in a very important negotiation. Ultimately, we all know that it's going to be the United States that's going to end this war through negotiation and its ability to pressure Russia and maybe even Ukraine to a point to where there will be a ceasefire. But this is in benefit of everyone.
My guest from Kiev has said that before this short break that they cannot see any chances for having a ceasefire agreement, and all these scenarios are referring for negotiations, maybe some terms that will be accepted, but all about temporary truce to ceasefire agreement. But the war will continue. How do you see this for you? Do you think this is somehow pessimistic from my guest from Kiev and Moscow?
If the question's for me, I just think that ultimately the war will come to an end. So the war will come to an end because Russia is going to decide eventually that it doesn't want to have war. We have to look at Russia like, maybe a wild animal, like a bear, and a big angry bear. And the only thing that's going to make that big angry bear stop is itself. We have to make that big angry bear not want to do this anymore. It could be foreign troops in Ukraine to prevent Russia from advancing forward. It could be devastating sanctions. It could be political pressure and economic pressure. So we have to make Russia decide that the worth of this war is not worth it anymore. And that's just it. We had already lost the opportunity, unfortunately, to put peacekeepers and foreign troops in Ukraine prior to Russia invading. That was a huge mistake. The NATO and the United States lost that opportunity. That's when that should have been done. We're already behind all of that at this point, and now you just have Russia. But we have to also understand, no matter what in this negotiation, ultimately this is going to be a big win for Russia. Even if they return 50% of everything they have taken from Ukraine, they still are going to keep an entire ocean, an entire sea, the Sea of Azov, which now they completely control and don't allow anybody in. Before this conflict, they did not control it totally. So Russia is getting the big win out of here, no matter what is negotiated, in my opinion.
Ivan, also one of the proposals of the American National Security Advisor, he has advised to a special point in the first phase of ceasefire agreement is regarding the hostages exchange to rebuild the trust between both. What is the Ukrainian point of view in that regard, especially, which will be very important for both sides?
Marina, of course, for Ukraine, I would call the main value. That's why we're really glad to see our side for something. We think that it's very good. Ukraine is ready to change all Russian president of war, but we need to return Ukrainian president of war that captured by Russia, and it's not only actually the president of war. A lot of people who live in the occupied by Russia territory since 2014 and arrested in Russia, they should return home. Because we will be very glad if they should that proposition appears to be realized. Of now, I'm a little bit skeptical about that. Nevertheless, it really will be very big step from both sides, and as I said, that Ukraine will be glad to exchange hostages for all hostages with our.
So Ukraine need some guarantees. In each time they propose that Ukraine need guarantees, and the same question is always raised, Mr. Ivan. What kind of guarantees Ukraine want, especially?
But of course, Trump said that Ukraine will not have our land, and that's supposed to very much, but I don't think that it's the dog. Nevertheless, there is a state of the main alliance, the United States, about NATO, that several countries will have the root and guarantee of Europe. I think that Donald Trump right at the moment that Europe should think more about Ukraine and more think about their own security. They should not give the sanctions to the United States. They by themselves to organize the forces and to Ukraine in case of great European military alliance, it's in European countries, what the geography, with Europe and that's all the 22nd that could be good guarantee to Ukraine, that they will be up. And Ukraine, another moment, that now discussed by Georgia alone, I think it's possible that a big particle of NATO should also touch Ukraine. We understand that it's not problematic. Nevertheless, it's going to be something like legal variance between not sensitive NATO but receiving by themselves in case of Mr. Russia attack. But whether that will be right, I'm not sure that's different. Now we understand that unfortunately the only battlefield is the third situation, and Ukraine is forced support by military from the United States, from European countries, from Turkey, from South Korea, and all allies that support the peace.
This is a very important point, Mr. Barry. This point that was mentioned by my guest from Kiev. Also, Europe is also discussing how they could continue the military support for Ukraine. So, how Washington views this point of view for the European stance? How Washington views the European stance, as they have mentioned that the European will have no bigger impact on the negotiations between the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine. But I think they still have an impact. What do you think?
I think still, as long as Europe is still providing money to Ukraine for the war, there is, of course, an impact. As far as these negotiations go, my understanding, the United States is going to take this leadership role in making this come to an end. Yes, we see the Europeans devoting a tremendous amount of money to the war effort, as well as the United States. And I believe that the United States, hopefully, we don't want a failure to these negotiations, but if so, I would predict that the United States will then again step up its financial support for Ukraine. But right now, the Europeans have some catching up to do with the United States. The United States provided billions and billions of dollars of support. So moving forward, I think all the more reason why you are seeing the urgency to end this totally. And really, this rests on Vladimir Putin and what he is going to decide. The ball is in his court. Beyond this negotiation is really going to determine the course of future over the next 5 years.
I would like to thank my both guests from New York, Mr. Badi Donadio, political and military analyst, and from Kiev, Mr. Ivan US, advisor of the Ukrainian Center for Foreign Policy. Thanks so much for being with us. Thank you so much.